Everyone. Thank you for coming out on tonight for our Wellness Wednesday. And we are going to be enlightened, we're going to be educated, and we are going to be blessed on tonight. Tonight we have with us Mr. Terry Holbert, who is a wellness specialist. I've been working with Terry for a few years now, and he's the one that has really helped us tremendously in getting back into shape and getting into better health and things of that nature. And I'm here to tell you, I'm going to read some credentials and some things off to give you a little insight on this young man. He is, you need to point that in the other direction because, thank you. It's crooked. Yeah, it's tilted. It's okay. Tilted. It's tilted. There you go. Make sure it's at this direction. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Terry Holbert is a wellness specialist. He's a program coordinator who ensures that we have the best information that we could ever have. He has a BS and an MS and an MED in exercise science. He works in an industrial athlete program, pre-work stretch intervention, motivational speaker, diabetes task force in Michigan, exercise specialist, motivational interviewing, back care training, back logic training, fitness specialist, cardiac rehabilitation, health coaching. He has over 20 years experience in the areas of fitness and nutrition coaching, group fitness, stretch leader, educational events and seminars, wellness programs and challenges, senior fitness classes. So he can take it from the lowest level all the way to the more seasoned levels. He does health screenings. He helps people with their cholesterol, glucose levels, blood pressure, body composition, nutrition, and fitness coaching. He does individual one-on-one coaching sometimes, face-to-face. Sometimes he does it via email or however you have whatever program you're using, whether it's Zoom or Duo or whatever. He works in all of those different areas. He will help you for your personal goals and give you insight that will take you out of sight. I love saying that. He reinforces personal action plans and things of that nature. He just wants to give us increased understanding and knowledge in health and education. He really knows his stuff. He has all kind of certifications. Some of his certification, Red Cross CPR, first aid, and he can do the AED instruction certification, American Heart Association, corporate wellness coach. He has all kind of credentials. He has so many credentials, we can't even say them all. So before we bring him on, we're just going to open up with prayer because we always want to give God praise. Isn't that right? Amen. Let us bow our heads. Dear God, as we come at this time, we just thank you for this hour. We just thank you for these great men and women of God. Today, Lord God, we ask, Lord, that you will open up our understanding, Lord God, and reveal your glorious truths unto us. Use this great man of God, Lord God, like he's never been used before to educate people in the areas of fitness and wellness. We ask these blessings and prayers in no other name but the Father, the Son, the blessed Holy Ghost. In Jesus' name do we pray and give thanks because we love you. Amen. Amen. Come on, Mr. Terry. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It is a great privilege to come over and have an opportunity to speak about taking care of ourselves. It's a challenge. The other mic right there. Okay, I didn't know here, but can you hear me through the mic? You need the mic. Okay, I'll hold it, man. Thank you, sir. So one of the things that I'm most interested in is actually talking about good health. Good health is fun. Bad health is not fun.
It is illegal and totally wrong if you walk around here unhappy and sad and you're physically in pain on a regular basis. Because somebody may convince you to do something that you don't need to do in terms of how we want to manage or navigate this pain. And there are things out there that's it's terrifying for me that I'm extremely afraid of. And so oftentimes I want people to know the facts. So what now I'm going to do is take you through a series of illustrations in terms of what's what. So I'm going to read some of these and we're going to go from there with that particular point. The overview over here today is actually talk about heart disease, looking at and discuss the national statistics and highlight some key facts. There are health risk factors that I'm concerned about, but I want to target some very, very specific, and I want you to hear what I'm saying, because I think this can be something that can change the effect that you actually have with your doctor, your medication, and the food that you eat on a regular basis. I've seen changes with employees that I've worked with over the years, and more recently, I've seen changes with some incredible employees who had A1Cs of what we call 13.9, 14.9, being on insulin. You're on insulin now, you're never gonna get off of it, right? Most of the time they tell you that, because right now we want to talk about you maintaining that disease with this medication, because you take that medication, I gotta eat right now because I'm going down. Listen to what I'm saying now. Listen loudly. Listen loudly. Hear the message. I'm concerned about blood pressure. I am concerned about cholesterol. But let me share a couple of things with you. These are real numbers in our community, in my life, your life, your mom, dad's life, and those people who come before us. This is what we're dealing with. The leading cause of death in the United States for men and women in the United States is heart disease. It's been that way for 60 years. It has not changed. And so we come up with statin drugs, blood pressure medication, blood sugar medication, EpiPens, this type of pen, you take this pill, you take that pill. And the pharmaceutical company has been miraculous, but they come with some great medications. But did we change the disease, or are we maintaining the disease? Listen, are you maintaining your disease? I want you to think outside the box. Don't think normal, think outside the box. You got a question, throw your hand up and we'll see if we can dress on top of that. One person dies every 37 seconds in the United States from cardiovascular disease. We have 1 in 4 person who is actually dying of a heart disease. 1 in 4. That's 25% of deaths that we're talking about of heart disease. They are spending $219 billion from 2014 to 2015. That's what they spent. The cost of healthcare services included medicines, loss of productivity due to death, not just being sick, just death. And so that was a big ticket piece. Leading cause of death leading cause of all deaths. Listen to these numbers, not to scare you. These are what numbers look like. We can choose to live if we do this thing the right way. Hear what I'm saying, because I want you to walk away with some real takeaways as it relates to how this program works. Heart disease was the number 1. Cancer, number 2. Let me give you some numbers. 647,457 individuals during that time frame when they did those stats. These numbers have changed somewhat, but they're based in the same frame as it relates to 2019 and 2020, but it will be skewed because of COVID. Everybody with me? Mm-hmm. Accidents, unintentional injuries, 169,936. So this is where people are not wearing their seatbelts, okay? Or you are riding a motorcycle, okay?
What if you have AFib, which I have?
Mm-hmm.
I take Olapost.
Yes.
Which is a great medicine.
It's a blood thinner.
Keep me alive.
Yes.
Take it twice a day.
Yes.
But is there anything else I can do other than exercise to keep me off of that medicine? Because it's expensive.
It's a possibility, but there are factors that surround that. Keep in mind that, like I said, I've been dealing with blood thinners for a long time.
Right. And
one of the key things that you got to look in terms of is how you are eating. So when you start navigating the food pyramid, and I'll use the food pyramid or my plate, this is how you eat on a regular basis. There are key factors that result in you having this rapid heartbeat, or you have this odd heartbeat where it looks like a shark tooth. It goes up and down, it slows down, it speeds up. So we're talking about an arrhythmia problem, which you actually do. So we're gonna put you on this type of blood thinner to actually help mitigate. So we make sure nothing sticks inside your vessel. That's what this medicine does. But I'm gonna come back to that one in a second.
First of all, I have stopped using salt other than what is in the products that I eat.
Let's call a time out here right now. I want y'all to listen to this right here. I love what you're saying.
Go ahead.
I want to hit you real good. Okay, this is real talk here right now.
Trying to learn.
Let me explain something to everyone in this room. Salt is beneficial and it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It's a double-edged sword.
Right.
The preservatives that we deal with, and I'm gonna come to that in just a second, the preservatives that you and I deal with are based off of crackers. It's based off Cheezettes. It's based off Doritos. These are virgin foods that we're talking about. These virgin foods have deleterious effect. For some people, you have a different level of inflammation. Listen, folks, inflammation doesn't always hurt. It may cause you have a migraine, or you might have a sinus issue, or you may find that you're being a little more constipated than you've been in a long time. These are inflammatory issues. So when we start talking in terms of salt, you have to look in terms of ultra processed food. Does that make sense? Ultra processed foods. These are the foods that we need to be concerned about. We can throw in McDonald's and Pizza Hut. We can throw in Subway. You remember Subway's good because you know what Jared said. I'm not making this one up. But let me go forward just a little bit because I want to hit you with a few items, and I'll take some questions in just a few moments.
That's fine.
Lower respiratory disease. Basically, when we start about lower respiratory disease, we talk about people that smoke. Okay, so now you have these issues we call COPD. And for whatever reason, if you're exposed to certain type of gases, certain type of chemicals, say we're a plant where they paint, things of that sort, these things are very toxic to the body. And so toxic means that it has a deleterious effect. Alzheimer's disease, people die of dementia. How do we actually deal with that? And that's one of the things that I want to talk about in terms of what do you eat, how do you eat it, and what are you doing as it relates to getting your body back to normal? We don't put people in a nursing home because they can't breathe. We put people in a nursing home because they're not strong enough. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's why we put them in nursing homes. Diabetes. Diabetes is one of the things that we all need to be intimidated with and afraid of, but at the same time, we have to respect the process in terms of how we control it. And one of the most functional ways to control it is to look in terms of how we eat, how we sleep. And certain foods trigger these issues. Why didn't I have diabetes when I was born? Some people are born with it, most people are not. I got type diabetes, you got pre-diabetes. Let me put you on metformin right now so we can take care of you. So this is going to work. This will actually help you. You go ahead and eat like you want, we'll check your blood sugar, we'll check your A1C here and there. Why is it that some people have an A1C of 14 and 15, and within 2 years, they on 7 medications? Why some people on diabetes medication, and they start taking the medication, and they change some things, and they're not on any medication at all? I have 3 people that I can prove right now wholeheartedly. One of them, you know. They're not on any medication at all. I've been working with them for several years. This is not miraculous because you are unique. You learn from your mom and your dad, and you start eating differently based off of the social paradigm. So at church, the little sweet lady, Sister Brown, she gave all those children, Tic Tac. And we started you out. So we begin to teach you, we groom you what sugar means. Now, diabetes ain't always bring the sugar, but now I have become an addiction because at one point, children didn't like sugar until Sister Brown. You better take it from Sister Brown. She knows she's good people. We love Sister Brown. And so we go forward with that. The next one we're dealing with is flu. Flu, I call flu the virus type stuff that's going on with it. Okay. The hybrid flu was COVID, the Delta version. Now the version out there is the Omicron. Now we got another version, it's B12.125. And we still dealing with all that stuff. I got this, and you got this. So there's ways that we can actually deal with it. So we reached a level of herd immunity. That's why we stopped wearing masks and we started doing the shots and so forth. So people are doing a little bit better with that. I'm not making this stuff up. And so now we said we cannot change. So we rather make money and let people die. So we let a lot of people die because they knew that was coming. Now somebody said, Terry, you shouldn't say that, but I can't lie. I got to tell you the truth. You know when people fake, and you know when stuff don't make sense. Everybody with me? Mm-hmm. And so you start dealing with that. And then you got the one that I get concerned about is unintentional self-harm. People make a mistake and they actually terminate their life. And sometimes they terminate their life by infliction, and sometimes they terminate it by legal infection. Legal infection has to do with dealing with, there's a guy named Jack Kevorkian. He's also known as the suicide doctor. There's a lawyer named Jeffrey Feider who did an incredible job telling people that the Supreme Court decided, no, so then we got the law of land saying that it's okay to terminate. And we're not interested in that. We're interested in how long do we live. That's what I'm talking about. So the first thing I said, like, you're supposed to feel good, okay? You're not supposed to feel bad that long. Come on now. And so when we start looking at things along this line, we start looking at the difference. So we're looking at diseases. Suicide, about 47,173 people die from suicide. Pneumonia, 55,672. We can prevent pneumonia. Diabetes, 83,564. You have to understand something. Taking medicine is amazing, but sometimes you got to change lifestyle. Sometimes you change lifestyle and not need the medicine. It does work that way. So we're gonna have a little more conversation. I'm thinking about you, okay, man? All right, man. You don't talk to you. So let me move forward with a couple other things real quick, and I want you all to hear this. We all need to hear this because this is something you can't get around. You have to be intentional about being physical. Less than 5% of the adult population are getting at least 30 minutes of activity in. 30 minutes for me, this is pedestrian. And this might be pedestrian for somebody else. And powering through. Man, I ain't gonna do that. That's crazy. What's wrong with y'all? Well, you know what? I'm 40 years old now. I'm too old to be exercising. What did I just say? You all answer me together. Why do we put people in nursing home? Because they what?
Weak.
They're not strong enough. Amen. And so there's a part that allows your physical spirit manifested in what I look like, where your exoskeleton, that you have to do something with at a different level. Because sometimes we get to a certain age and your body forget to know how to use your thighs and your glutes and your inner thighs, and you can't squat down no more. Man, I ain't gonna squat down. My knee jacked up.
Can't get up. Get down, but you can't get up.
There you go. He's falling, and we need help.
That happens a lot.
35 to 40% of adults, 75 years or older, are not physically active. This is for all ages. This goes all the way up to age 75. 80% of people, adults, need to actually understand how we naturally improve your lung function. Okay, so lung function has a lot to do with your heart and your blood pressure. Everybody with me? There's a level of integrity that relates to joint function and muscle integrity. You have to do that. It's not a scary thing. The question is, what is the dosage amount that give you the same benefits as if you take a medicine with all the benefits? Number one, it'll get you to sleep better. Number two, your digestion is about to get smooth. You have to start out with the kids having fun. At age 2 and 3, you have to bring this into the existence. Because if you let your kids sit around and play video games, and y'all know about TikTok now. Come on, y'all know about TikTok. Facebook is way over there. But this is TikTok now. And y'all smiling. You know about that. I see you looking up here. Yeah. And so that works like that. Community risk factors. What we're actually dealing with. You're dealing with high blood pressure, also known as hypertension. You got some things that deals with LDL. They say that this is the cholesterol that causes a problem. They say it's bad cholesterol, but I'm not going to necessarily say it's bad cholesterol. I'm saying it's cholesterol that can have a deleterious effect if it begins to accumulate, because your body needs that. If I put you on certain medication and I drop your cholesterol too low, your female sex hormone and your male sex hormone doesn't work the same. It is very viable and important to actually have it in place because both female and male sex hormone protect you from dying. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's what it's there for, to help you. It's like, oh my God, don't do that. No, it doesn't work like that. Right. You have to have your body in chemical sequence. Chemical sequence means that if your fat level gets too low, you're going to get diabetes, you're going to get fat. That's what that means. I'm just being direct about that. Having lemonade or having
RC, and you know the other doctor, known as Dr. Pepper. That one right there might get you in trouble. Don't believe in Dr. Pepper. Sometimes you gotta put Dr. on step. They go, Dr. Pepper has something that's called high fructose corn syrup. Your body does not deserve that, and you're asking too much of your body if you're drinking those sodas on a regular basis. You will be on diabetic medication, and you will be on blood pressure medication, and you will be on cholesterol medication because sugar affects your cholesterol. They don't tell you that. But don't worry about it. We're going to give you the smallest milligram, about 2.5, and you just take that. And don't worry about that. We'll check you in about 3 months and call me if you need anything. Knowing good and well, you ain't going to call. Okay. And so let's look at a couple of big factors. Overweight and obesity, some of that is not your fault. As a matter of fact, a lot of that's not your fault. Let me use my hand up here. This is called Big Pharma. This is called Big Food. Big Food creates chemicals in these foods to seduce you, and for whatever reason, your brain becomes connected to it, and you cannot overcome the seduction. So when you really seduce, I'm all in, oh my God, I wouldn't. Then you start buying, instead of one bag of potato chips, you buy 10 bags. They on sale right now. They on sale. I 2 for $5. And then you get that. And then Big Pharma said over here, if they have a health problem, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put these chemicals in there because you got a biomedical engineer specialist who's great at this. Because I know in terms of you ever heard the word algorithm? Mm-hmm. Okay, an algorithm is a determining factor of you make this much money, this is where you went to school, this is where you live, this is how you live, this is how you socialize. That's what TikTok does. So TikTok uses algorithm to be attractive. So when you look at a certain video, it'll show it over and over again. This is what starts showing up. If you talk in your phone sometimes from Facebook, and you look for a car starts showing up. Listen to what I'm saying. Because you need to understand where I'm coming from. No secret. So when you start thinking about these algorithms, the algorithm they actually use is based off of preset input. So now I know you're going to act a certain way. You're going to do something a certain way, and I got you. And with these algorithms in play, it changes the way the body operates. So now I know that you are attracted to Snickers. And you will eat a half a dozen of Krispy Kreme. Ain't gonna think that nobody said, no, Duncan won't get it. I got Krispy Kreme. Don't you bring them around here. Before you know it, 6 of them gone inside you. Almost boom, he's done. Where are they? I don't know. Ingestion of heavy processed food cause problems. Stressful lifestyles cause problems. Stressful lifestyle meaning that somebody just died. I've gone through a divorce. I'm having a relationship problem. And my relationship problem stems back where I had a relationship with my mom, had a relationship with my dad, or I had a relationship with that person who's in charge of my life. Because at some point, you are not in charge of your life. And now you will turn loose and I don't use the term, not necessarily abandon, but you transition now, I'm in charge of my life. And so these patterns that you come up with affect you. That's why you respond in a stressful way. This stress that we're talking about right now, for whatever reason, cause you to have a unique relationship with yourself. And these relationships you have with yourself cause you to actually have injuries. And these injuries are called obesity. They call arthritis. They call, we'll say, you got a mental health problem. No, you don't. We got to trust you because think about it. When you get abandoned, it's not the same way anymore. Does that make sense? And so there's a level that we got to actually protect everyone and get them back. So we start learning something. Man, I'm tired. I'm going to sit down and man, we're gonna play this video game. Grand Theft Auto, let's roll with that. And we playing with it. And so now the 30 and 40-year-old used to go fishing. They sit around and play Grand Theft Auto. So when I'm not playing Grand Theft Auto, here I am, 16, 17 years old, man, I'm going to reach in and give me one of them beers. They're going to pay them with the body. Y'all want to tell you one? Tastes like, but man, I got a buzz. Did you get a buzz? And then here we go. And so these are stressful events. So we learn to do alcohol at a very early age. Sometimes they learn as early as 10. Watch your 10-year-olds, watch your 10-year-olds. We start learning how to use tobacco, and tobacco be a business, that's okay, but we know, guess what? Tobacco still causes cancer. It still causes prostate cancer. It still causes throat cancer. It still causes colon cancer. It still causes breast cancer. I've had relatives that didn't smoke at all, that had secondhand smoke, and they got breast cancer, and they died. I watched them. And so that's an emotional, stressful event that I've seen in my life, in mine. I ain't talking about stats, I'm just saying right now, and it's true. And then We got the obligatory, I can't fall asleep. I wake up all the time. I'm tired all the time. So that person that wakes up like that, I'm like, guess what happened then? They develop diabetes, and they develop blood pressure. I'm gonna talk to you now. And don't run from me, run to me. It's a good thing. All right. Having cholesterol problems doubles your risk of having issues for heart disease. Well, how do you fix that? When do you know that you've overeaten? When you're tired and falling asleep, and man, you see the pastor talking, wake up. Y'all know what I'm saying? Hey, it does happen. All right, now I'm treating y'all good. 71 million Americans actually have issues with cholesterol. 1 in 3 adults of every adult actually have issues with this condition. They're trying to get it under control, and somewhere along the line, it's not necessarily controlled. So there are some changes that I'm concerned about. The blood pressure problem is probably one of the number one things out there we deal with. If we control your blood pressure with food, because I'm not going to scare you. You hadn't died yet, and you might not die. How about that? Okay. I'm not going to use guilt. I'm going to talk about these are values that you have in place to have an effect on your life. Because your mama has high blood pressure don't mean that you truly have a family history. Listen to what I'm telling you right now. Now I'm firm with this one. Mama likes to eat at Golden Corral all the time. I grew up eating at Golden Corral and Ryan's back in the day. Y'all remember that? And so now the fun is when we get a chance to, we're going to go to this buffet, we're going to get our money's worth. And my suggestion is, how do you enjoy yourself? Is it with stuff in yourself and you really getting your money's worth? Because now you're gonna pay. You remember that old commercial, pay me now and pay me, or you're gonna pay me later. Well, sometimes you might be paying and later. And that's a double-edged sword. So I want to be careful about that. I'm concerned about heart disease, blood vessel damage, chronic kidney disease. Chronic kidney disease is violent. And somewhere along the line, this is how we got to fix that. In many cases, don't get offended in here, folks, because I love you all. Otherwise, I would say it. I mean what I'm saying. You have to catch yourself and realize when you're overeating. Because there's a chemical in your body that's called insulin. This had nothing to do with blood sugar right now. It has nothing to do with blood sugar. But insulin causes your body to feed itself. Big Pharma, you remember I talked about those guys? And Big Food, remember I talked about those guys a few minutes ago? They in cahoots together, because if we give you the right type of food, you're going to keep eating and you're going to feed yourself until you get big. And now you can't get up because you're too tired. There is a conspiracy in our country with certain types of food that has a deleterious effect. I know this. I've seen this. I have worked with heart transplant patients. My youngest patient was 9 years old. It's brutal. I'm not making this up. And it's tough when you start seeing that. So somebody's got to die so we can get this boy hard. Okay? Let's just talk about diabetes real brief. I'm going to move forward on something. So I don't want to bore nobody, but I'm giving you functional topic and information. 29 million people, about 9.3 to 10% of our population, either has diabetes or pre-diabetes. Every year, about 21 million people are diagnosed with. There's about 1,100,000 people that are not diagnosed, and they need some attention. Because if we recognize you have diabetes, does that mean I put you on medication? And most of the time, let's just fix all this and we'll get you on this medication. This medication can cause major chemical changes in your body, such as may not be control your bladder. It may not be able to control your digestive system. It may have to empty a frequent, also known as diarrhea. So when you start looking at those things, it becomes frightening. So let's just talk about treatment process. You don't like this right here. I see it in your eyes now. Come on, man. When you speak to your provider, you have to talk to your provider in such a way that you're in control. And you have to put yourself back in a position where you're not terrified. Because so we got folks that here know how to talk to their doctors now. I don't know what happened, but something happened. And that lady started talking to her doctor. She changed. I started talking to her a while back, and she really changed. I'm proud of her, though. Say whatever you want to say. She's tough. I'm scared of her, too. treatment process, lifestyle change. We always talk about losing weight. Well, how do we really lose weight? I want you to think about that for a second. Number two, we know we need to quit smoking, but we don't because we don't want you to quit smoking. I want you to keep smoking because Philip Morris, big tobacco, needs you to keep smoking so we can keep this economy going. So now we don't smoke anymore. Now we got weed. Pretty soon weed gonna be just like cigarettes. With this weed that's out there, y'all gonna hear me say this. With this weed that's out there, weed is gonna cause cancer and brain issues and heart problems the same as tobacco.
That's right.
It's not going to change. I have looked at least 15 to 20 different research projects that's indicative that marijuana, when you smoke it, because I'm pushing you all to smoke. I want you to smoke, because I'm gonna make money off of you. And don't you die, keep smoking. Y'all hear me? That don't sound good, I know. And so now we're gonna start talking about salt intake. We need to reduce your salt. If you let your sodium level get too low, honestly, you will die and have a heart attack. Now, Brother Baker's heard me say this before because I've shared it with this group. Preservative salts are dangerous. There are key salts that you actually have to preserve but help your body. If we take all the salt out of your body, you're not going to be able to move, and you're not going to be able to have the kind of lifestyle that you want. You will faint, you will pass out, you will be sick. Do you understand what I just said?
Mm-hmm. Say it again.
All right.
I need to hear that again.
I think that it's very important. Number one, if you're eating processed food, that's where the salt's coming from.
Right.
It is not coming from Morton on the table, but many of us don't even put that in there anymore.
Right.
You can get enough sodium through normal food that will give you what you need. But if we turn around and kill all the sodium out of your food, you are not going to be able to walk. You're not going to be able to stand. You're going to feel terrible. It's a bad feeling. It's a horrible feeling. There are salts out there. There are 3 types of salts out there that have some benefit. You can ingest too much salt. Let me just keep very clear on that. Okay, this is a triple-edged sword. Yeah. You can take in too much salt, but certain salts you can't eat. You can't eat salami. That salt right there will hurt you, and you got to behave yourself all the way with that one. I died. If you eat salami, it will make your muscles swell and it will hurt you, and your kidney will work too hard. Salami is with the level of deli meats. Deli meats are the one that are frightening, that cause major side effects in your body. The reduction in deli meat, let's go with bologna, let's go with chicken, let's go with the turkey, let's go with the roast beef, no thing, deli meats. And so, you got the prepackaged deli meat, you got Kraft, you got a few other Oscar Mayer and those things. Those things create side effects in your body. That's what we want to reduce, eating foods like that, because that causes high blood pressure, but also that causes inflammation in your body. Remember, inflammation is not just swelling and retention of fluid. Inflammation causes arterial stuff. You don't even feel that. Okay? Everybody with me? And so that's one of the things we want to do. We already know that we got to reduce sugar in our diet because the unsweetened sugar is the thing that makes a big difference. Well, let me use a term that you may be familiar with, I'm not sure. You have to unlearn old patterns. And you got to rethink the next level, the best ways to feel different and better. And there's a way to go about doing that. Understand it's important to have examination, but what's more important in examination is taking care of yourself. If you fail to get good sleep, you're going to be heavy. If you fail to get good sleep, you're going to be sore in your body. If you turn around and say, you know something, I'm a bodybuilder, they eat all day long, man, I want you to eat every 2 hours. So now I'm making product to go out the door so you can eat every 2 hours. You eat every 2 hours, you know what's going to happen to you? You're going to be barely able to get out your car. You're going to be looking, and you're going to be coughing. Pastor, let me get you in hell. You can't do that. And you got to know your numbers. Know your weight. Know your waist size. Know your weight. Know your waist size. I've been big my whole life. Well, because you've been big your whole life don't mean that it was right. Okay? Don't fuss at me. Because one, you say you want truth. This is what truth look like. Okay? And so that's one of the things we have to look at. So we got to rethink. Okay? And we got to unlearn some old patterns. So why is it so important to take care of your health? It impacts how happy you are. You know you need to be happy, and I need to make you smile. Oh, go on. You know how we got to do that. Poor health makes it hard for you to cope with life itself because you do some amazing things. I talk to I want to talk to a lot of sophisticated people all the time, and some of them are just tough as nails. And it means something when I talk to them, but it's very interesting how that whole thing works. We want you not just to be around for them, we want you to be around you because there's something that you do when you bring to them. When I look in your eye, there's something dynamic and special and amazing. We need to feel that. And sometimes that unspoken word is more powerful than when I tell you I love you, but you look and you see it and you start to say, oh, he's looking at me. Yes, I am. It makes a difference. You better stop. It affects how you look and feel, because think about it is, if you feel good, you look good. You can look good and not feel good. You know what I'm saying? But you can feel amazing, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need to get back to that. Concentrate on being able to make good decisions. You can't concentrate if you feel bad. And sometimes that big toe hurts because you've been eating, that Oscar Mayer hot dog. I'm trying to tell you. What impacts the quality of life? Poor health. Poor health leads to bad finances. Because now insurance is not what it used to be. Everybody got paid at 20% almost. Man, that hit me upside my head. The effects and being able to really get engaged and understanding how to make social activity happen. So let's look at some prevention techniques real quick. I'm gonna jump on a couple of things. Number one, understand something. Do not eat every 2 hours. That is against the law. That is wrong. That is against life itself. If I ate every 2 hours, I would not be able to do anything I want to do. I do not need Cheesettes. I don't want Doritos. I got to stop the potato chips because this is going to change how your body works. Man, don't tell them that. They can eat whatever they want. These foods are safe. Guess what? These foods have the same effect that alcohol and bourbon has. And you don't even know that. Now, somebody's going to get mad at me in just a second. I'm about to tell you something because I don't have this written down. That bowl of ice cream that you used to have. Now, I'm going to tell you the honest truth. Ice cream has a deep, deep effect as alcohol has. I mean this. I'm not being funny now. And I want you to hear this message. You have something that's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And you have something that's called fatty liver disease. Both of these affect your liver that can cause liver cancer. And so somewhere along the line, as the liver begins to become swollen, your body stops operating. Your belly gets a little bit bigger, you get a little bit tighter, and because you're eating the same type of food. Sugar is one of the main culprits. And oftentimes the sugar that we eat now is not the same sugar that used to have many years ago. But nonetheless, we took fat out of our food chain and we said fat is bad. And so we put a lot of sugars in these things. So now you become addicted. So they taught us how to become addicted to sugar. That's why you can't eat just one Oreo cookie or you just eat one donut. You'll keep feeding until they all gone. That bag's empty now. Oh my God, I ate all of them. We don't get enough physical activity. And at the same time, we're dealing with processed salt. Processed salt are the preservatives. That's what I keep talking about. We accidentally teach young people and said, okay, you're going to have your time, but we got to unlearn and rethink how we deal with stress and how to calm ourselves down, because when you calm down, you're able to have good energy. Going to bed, waking up tired is painful. So we got to change that sleep pattern, and also we got to do a better job and we got to enjoy ourselves. Who told you that it was okay for you to walk right in the middle? You better stop that. That is against the law. That is wrong. You are not allowed to do that. So let me move into a couple things. I got something that's called my 6 R's, okay? Things that you can change. When you think about recalibrating, you're going to reposition that stuff that doesn't belong in your life. You need to say that. I need to reposition stuff that don't belong in my life. So that's what recalibration means. Everybody with me? Number 2, reset. Reset means that you're going to pause, get it sorted out, and you're going to start again. That's how that works. Number 2, you're going to, this other R, number 3 remove things that you don't need. And sometimes you got to remove that behavior that you don't need. Because sometimes sharing with you that I love you and here, eat some of this right here, And I don't want to offend you, but you got to eat this. I'm gonna make you eat this. They call it passive aggressive. Y'all ever heard that before? It actually works, because sometimes it works in your relationship. You got to look at that. All right, I'm just cutting. All right, now look in terms of, so when you feel good, you make the decisions. If you don't allow yourself to be in a good place, you can accidentally get caught up in like, it don't matter, I'll eat what I want. Now, I've worked with employees and individuals for many, many years now. And what I'm finding is that more people are developing blood sugar and blood pressure problems than ever before, and they're getting younger. In 2005, an employee I've been working with had developed blood sugar problem. He had an A1C of 14, and they put him on medication. He'd been taking the medication for years, but his medication never really worked. I started working with him, and for whatever reason, his blood sugar went down to normal. For whatever reason, he's not taking any medication. So help me, I mean this. Now I'm telling you right now, there's something that you can do about your life. If you feel like that your stomach's too big, change it. Stop saying that. I don't know what I gotta eat. You know one thing, what you been eating ain't been working. Don't be afraid to unlearn a behavior and rethink where you need to get to. It's really amazing to understand where we need to get to. These are vegetables over here. These are fruits over here. You need to have a minimum of 2.5 cups of vegetable every day, no matter what. You need to have at least 2 cups of fruit every day, no matter what. Every day. So these are your foundations, and these are things you need to get into. Non-starchy veggies I would definitely prefer. Brussels sprouts in particular, asparagus, okay, broccoli, okay. You can have some spinach. You can actually have some collards. You do the collards right now. Don't you do them wrong. Spinach is safe. Let's say we want to have some turnip greens or mustard greens. These things are good. They got something called Swiss chard. Okay. All these types of food are very beneficial because you need it in. But guess what these foods do? They stimulate the liver and protect the liver. How do you protect the liver? You have to stop eating ice cream for weeks at a time. Are you strong enough to leave the gummy worms? Are you strong enough to put the ice cream down? Are you powerful enough to say, you know what, I'm going to actually do 16 weeks and I'm not going to do candy and I'm not going to do processed food? Are you ready to make that challenge? But if you don't believe, then yeah, you're going to fail. Because if we get that stuff off, guess what happens? Somebody's blood sugar and blood numbers go back to normal. Your blood gets really thick sometimes because you don't get enough things that you really need in it. Magnesium is one of the biggest, most effective minerals that's out there that most people miss out of their bodies. And that's why they have blood pressure and blood sugar problems. Magnesium is very important. And there are a lot of different things about magnesium that we can actually talk about at some point. But nonetheless, I have something here I brought here. This is 10 pounds of fat. And I want you to feel this right here. I know you looking all good and everything. Come on now, handle it. Okay, now that particular fat right there that I just gave her is something that can be dispersed all over your body, but you need to feel that. And sometimes you can't get much fat. Guess what fat does? It holds inflammation. For whatever reason, some people continually store calories because they have what we call high blood insulin. I didn't say blood sugar. You have high blood insulin, your body's going to continue to store fat. When your insulin levels go down, you don't store fat. And so if you eat a high carb meal, whether it is a sugar that's unsweet, let me repeat myself. You eat a sugar that's unsweet, you inadvertently cause your insulin level to stay high and you start storing calories. Those of you that eat sweets directly, you're going to have insulin responses. And that's why the appetite gets more aggressive. The challenge that we all facing, and I face, is eating slow enough to change the way the body responds. Because if you eat extremely slow, you're going to do a phenomenal job in controlling your heart disease and your blood pressure and your aging process. If you eat bad foods, it's going to make you prematurely age. That's just the way it works. And that's why some athletes fail. Luka Doncic, he plays with the Dallas Mavericks. Incredible athlete, but he eats candy and smokes cigarettes for a game start. He's about 23, 24 years old. What if he really committed himself to that next level, how well he could actually be? I'm not making this stuff up. So when athletes start having issues, LeBron James is incredible. I give him big time, but he's somebody that learned how to take care of his body. And so, thank you, man. Man, you strong. You said she hung with one hand.
Hey, all right.
And so it's interesting when you start looking in terms of making the adjustment how your body needs to operate. You got decisions to make. I got a handout for you that I'm gonna give to everyone that's actually here tonight. And part of this handout has a lot to do with looking in terms of this is how I make this subtle correction. So the first question I asked was, well, Terry, if I'm on medication, how can I get off this medication? You got to be monitored. Blood thinners is one of the toughest medication to get away from because, again, the side effects of actually running the risk of actually having a clot is a little frightening, and we don't want to actually have one. Number two, if you have this atrial fib that some people have, it's going to take something unique to pay close attention to, and that's where you're going to have continuous conversation with your medical provider, but also speak with a healthcare nutritionist or someone who's a specialist. When you're ready to make this transition, you have to do specific things that allow your body to actually change. If you're still storing body fat, then you got to start getting moving. People that end up what we call PE, pulmonary embolisms, or somebody has a TIA, trans ischemic attack, typically have thick blood, typically are inactive in most cases. Serena, when she traveled, and she may have the sickle cell trait that resulted in her getting these blood clots. You remember she had the blood clots in the lungs and she was going through those changes. This may have something to do with the sickle cell trait. So we have to work with that. That is a genetic disposition. The trait. Full-blown sickle cell is what it is. Blood pressure, most of us develop over time. Is there a direct correlation between grandmom and great-grandmom and great-granddad? It's possible. But until you are willing to make modifications in your dietary pattern, you will continue to have that. I met a guy a couple of years ago, actually no longer than that, probably back in 2014, 2015. Saw me and didn't know what I was. He hard nosed. He said, all you know about is exercise. I said, man, well, if you really want to change, let's get together. I saw his numbers go, and I saw him, a very large guy, to the point that he has to buy new clothes or have his clothes altered. It's the truth. I'm not making this one up. And so it's interesting when you change your lifestyle, how much more fun that you can actually have. You are your takeaway right now, willing to have fun and willing to enjoy yourself, make this transition. Don't let somebody tell you get too skinny. That's silly. Because I need you to be worse than me so I can tell you, you know what, I don't know what you lose all that weight for, you still look the same. Don't you buy that. Now that you made a difference, you're gorgeous, you always have been. Now you're actually facilitating the kind of qualitative change that we need to have. I value what you say. I care about what you think. I'll take some questions right now, and we'll go from there. Does this make sense what I'm saying? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Because there's a dynamic power that we have in here right now to make unique adjustments. You cannot be afraid not to make these alterations. Men and women of all ages, men that are in their 60s, women that are in their 60s, men that are in their 50s, women that are in their 40s, you can actually improve your muscle tone and get flat abs and have a shape at the bottom again. It actually works. Does that make sense? That's for sure. This is not pie in the sky. Unlearn that old pattern. Rethink the next level. All right. Questions, comments, suggestions. Let's talk.
So what can we do with asparagus, spinach, Brussels sprouts if you got gout?
Okay. So you're dealing with purines. And so your situation is going to be a little bit different.
Cauliflower too.
Mm-hmm. Your situation.
Hold up. Peas.
Your situation is a little different.
Hold up. A whole bunch of food I can't eat.
But the thing about it is
It's all the
accumulation that stimulates the response from gout occurred from your ability to have these sensations that have been going on for a number of years. there is a situation that's going on with you with the inflammatory process that hadn't been fully developed. So we're gonna give you this particular medication, prednisone, to kind of calm it down.
Oh, Alpurinol.
Alpurinol don't do it, but we're gonna put you on prednisone. Listen, I'm making a point with him. He knows what I'm talking about. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not playing games with him. I'm saying it in a very positive way. For him in particular, we got to actually do something slightly different to get him to eat different types of food to protect him. He's to develop a unique autoimmune dysfunction that actually is a kidney issue that gets in his joints. So we have to look in terms of getting him on a specific regimen that actually help you detox yourself. The best detox in the world is exercise. You heard me talk about that. People die because they don't exercise. People that exercise, they live. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And you need to take this takeaway with this. Even if you do pedestrian walking in Food Line, it's gonna save your life. You're gonna sit down here and don't watch this game. There's some things that can be done with you. But again, your gout is quite different than his gout or her gout. Gout is gout, but it's not all the same as it relates to what your triggers are. You know what I'm talking about now.
Oh, yeah.
This heavy stuff in here right now. And so the important thing for a person who's dealing with gout, we got to get them off of all preservatives. Ultra processed food would be stuff like saltine crackers. I'm just giving you an example. And you may sit here, I don't eat no crackers, but you eat processed foods. We got to begin to get this stuff out of your system so your body can actually resync itself. So that's what I'm talking about. Let's get you replenished. Let's make you a pause button. And it's going to take some time, but it is doable. Man, I'm going to be like with that the rest of my life. I've heard that stuff before. That ain't true. It's a lot more truism that's out there than you think. Because one, I'm going to up your allopurinol, but I'm going to up your prednisone. I can't do that. What I do know is that one particular meat triggers one more so than another. Whether it is Oscar Mayer, just give you an example, or whether you ate this turkey that's been soaked in this particular brine that has this unique chemical in it that trigger this. So we're going to look at some stuff, and we can talk a little bit further. Does that make sense? Help a little bit, but no, I didn't fully answer. I know that. Gotcha. What y'all got? Let's talk.
I'm a diabetic. I've been a diabetic for over 10 years.
Okay.
I'm 60 years old. I take 1,000 metformin in the morning,
Mhm.
1,000 metformin at night, 3 8 units of Himalon Instant, a 2 listen every Monday, 56 Atlanta at bedtime.
I got good news for you, and it's going to be tough for you to hear this. I got people that are 62 and 63 and 64 and 65 years old that were on the same amount of medication you're on that are not taking medication at all right now. A1Cs, they took the medication, I gotta eat. They take the medication, I gotta eat. Oh Lord, it's going down. Give me something to eat right now. I'm being comical, but I'm not being funny, but I'm very serious about you. I love your question. And the question that you're asking is, how do I do this so I don't have these crazy swings in blood sugar? Whoop, 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 whoop. And you can't sleep. And now your digestive system is a little off track. That's just real. Because it is.
And the doctor put me on, I got to leave it now so I can monitor.
Yeah. The monitoring your blood sugar is brilliant. But the question is, how are you willing to get rid of some of the sugar that's stored inside your body? Come here, man. Please, I love this guy. This is my guy here. He called me his big brother, and we fought. Come here. And I had to put my arm around him. All sincerity. Man. Okay. All sincerity. We've known each other for, I'm gonna say maybe close to 7, maybe 8 years. But when I met him, he had numbers that were not controllable based off of things he made adjustments on. He and I had a conversation last year, and first thing he said, Terry, I'm gonna have some Thanksgiving. I said, you're not gonna have no Thanksgiving because now you're gonna eat in a nutritional pattern. Did we not say that? He looked at me like, I'm like, man, don't fight me. This woman, I said, you're not gonna have that. I said, because when come December, when we do your A1C, this is what your number gonna look like. How did your A1C turn out? It dropped. He's taking medication. You taking more medication because number one, your ability to control your insulin is giving you trouble. And you hadn't changed enough patterns, so you don't need all this stuff. When you first start changing the way that you eat, sometimes you don't need to take medication if your blood sugar is not extremely high. It's not extremely high. You take a medication, then you got to go eat. And if you're eating really fast, it's going to change the thing. I'm going to stay around for a couple of seconds, and maybe we can talk a little bit more so. But there are things that you can start doing. 60 is not the end all. It is the beginning, and you're going to do a whole lot more. Let's keep this real.
Praise God. Hey, brother. Sweet and low.
Don't.
Does it
Don't.
cause you to have memory loss?
Absolutely.
That's what I thought. That's what I've been doing. I put 5 packages in my coffee.
We need to start fighting. Hey, man, you get on the other side. We got to fight you. Don't you do that no more. Stop that. I mean, I'm not being sarcastic when I say that. I say that with real respect.
What other sweeteners can I use except sugar?
There's a sweetener out there that's called monk. There's a sweetener out there that's called monk fruit. Monk fruit. Monk fruit. And you don't need a whole lot of that.
Mhm.
But do not do saccharin. Do not do aspartame. Do
Right.
not do sweet and low.
Yes.
That is against the law.
How about stevia?
I understand. I'm with you because I've heard that before.
Stevia will be a little okay, but monk fruit is a little better than stevia, man.
Uh-huh.
So, young lady, if you consider trying a little monk fruit, get the smallest container out there. Okay, it's going to have a little bitter taste to it, but it's a little bit different. But it has a different effect than one of these other chemicals that are out there. Monk fruit's a little bit different. Okay, I mean,
I should have talked to you 40 years
I'm
ago.
starting to lose my memory.
I got good news for you. You know what? I'm right here, right now.
I've been diabetic. I'm sorry. Were you through? I've been.
How about honey?
Go ahead. Oh, honey.
Honey, what's your question about that? Tell me. You saying honey? Honey is sweet, but talk to me.
Like you say in the coffee or something like that.
I
Use honey.
Well, the question, my question is right now, your body only needs about a cube of sugar in it at times. And unfortunately, as the body begins to accumulate, your insulin levels get high, it stops pulling your sugar up even higher. And that's why when your sugars get real high, you pee all the time. Okay, listen to me. Don't get upset. I don't mean to offend nobody. Okay, and I mean this with great respect. If you're going to control how you eat and you're going to control how this biological process is going to work, you have to understand there are times that you can't eat. And I've had guys and women fighting me about, Terry, you ain't letting me eat. I am letting you eat, but this is when you're going to eat. Because now your brain has to determine that these are the chemicals it goes with. You are allergic to high fructose corn syrup, and you don't even know it. You, young lady right here, you little cute lady over there, that mask on. You run around here and you done got allergic to high fructose corn syrup, and it's bothering your body. You accidentally got a lot of fructose corn. If you bring the sugar down, powerful man over there looking like he could push through a wall. If you make a decision to reduce your sugar intake, it's gonna help you with your gout. And you're gonna say, Terry, I ain't eating sugar. You are. You eat sugar that are not sweet. And those are the ones that's gonna create problems, because now the accumulation of that is stimulating the response to make your kidneys act like this with this gout. I'm not being superficial when I say that. I ain't trying to prove you wrong, and I'm not. So don't get offended when I say that.
What about fruit? You telling us to eat more fruits, and you telling me that's natural sweet, and I'm diabetic, so I don't know if I'm like her on a roller coaster.
Okay, let me try this all over again. Okay, you little nice lady right sitting right here up front right here.
I'm just saying.
And so I want to be fun with you, but I want to be sincere about you. Okay,
The fruits is natural sweet, right?
pause.
Okay.
We're gonna reset. That's in this. That's in my thing right here.
Okay.
You need to replenish yourself with some fluid first, and you got to start with short fast because you're eating too often. And right now, every time you take the medication, bam, you feel it.
Yeah.
And now I got to go eat, and you have not done anything but maintain your disease.
Oh my God.
And I'm not telling you not to take your medication. Don't y'all go out and say, hey, Terry told me not to take my medication.
No.
I'm telling you right now, you're eating too often, you're eating too fast, and you're taking more medication than your body needs to digest. That's what you start doing.
Get off of the metformin.
Yes, you can get off the metformin. I got off of it.
I
Listen,
got hope. Thank you for that.
now it's more than hope. It's reality. This is big food. This is Big Pharma. I want you to eat high fructose corn syrup so you can get sick, so I can prescribe metformin for you. And I'm gonna tell you, if you don't take this metformin, you're gonna have problems. Amputation, you going blind, I'm gonna have kidney problems. You are eating
$0.08 outside of insurance.
You are eating the wrong types of food. You hadn't changed your food. What did I just say? In a good way. Unlearn, rethink. Unlearn, rethink. Unlearn, rethink. That's the goal that we got to get to. You unlearn some stuff, you're gonna be okay. But you can't be scared.
But sometimes I don't eat. This is my problem. I have 2 jobs. I work 12 hours at Overseas Hospital on the orthopedic floor. And I work with my baby sister, and I take care of her on my days off.
Okay.
And I work 7 days a week.
Okay.
And I don't know how to eat sometimes.
Okay. Then why are you taking medicine?
Because the doctor put me on the medicine.
And so because the doctor put you on the medicine, you mean tell me it's okay to take that medicine? Sometimes the doctors are also known as wrong.
Yeah, but I can see this doctor every 3 months.
And he did too, until he met me. This man right here met me, and I've been with him. And I've been with him all the time, to the point that I would call him multiple times during the week, multiple times during the day. Is that fair to say, Pastor?
Yes, sir.
And I'm just saying to you, you got some good things going on with you, but you got to understand something. Your medication does not cure your disease. You have not changed your pattern. You have to unlearn some patterns. I'm talking to you too, young lady. You have to unlearn some patterns, and you got to rethink. That's where this whole thing comes. That don't get frustrated about it, because you didn't do anything wrong. You've done a lot of great and outstanding things that all of us have. But you got to unlearn those patterns that create these deleterious effects. And you got to rethink, and you got to pause for a second. That's why I put this here. I came here because I want everybody to understand something. Why you eat like you eat. Why did I get fat? Why did I make these type of decisions? And there are a number of factors. Now that I got Big Pharma and Big Food working together to get you to continue to eat this way, now I can give you medicine so you can stay on this. So now basically you maintain your disease. I did not tell you not to take your medicine. Yes, sir.
I've got a statement on the question. I guess I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes maybe about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
All right. The first medication they started me on was what was it? Gabapentin.
Gabapentin. Okay.
Gabapentin.
That's for the neuropathic pain.
Yeah. Is that for the neuropathy pain?
Yes, it is.
I started experiencing some neuropathy pain.
Yes.
But they eventually took me off of that and put me on metformin.
Yes.
So what is that? Does that also treat the neuropathy pain?
No.
So that means that the neuropathy would have gotten worse.
Not necessarily.
But it did.
No, I understand that.
Mhm.
Let me explain something to you.
Okay.
Okay. I'm giving you a big picture, not an absolute. But
Okay.
here how I say this. Here I'm verbalizing this to
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Gabapentin is a neurotransmitter, which in turn, it has a way of calming down the nerve endings.
Okay.
When you take metformin, or if you don't take metformin, over time, it causes the nerve endings to become damaged. And they say, if you don't take this metformin, your nerve's gonna go bad, and we're gonna amputate your foot and cut your leg off.
Right.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Mhm.
When your blood sugar stays high like that, we got to get it down. You have to unlearn, change some things so you won't need metformin.
Well, let me tell you the rest of the story.
All right, sir.
Okay, the rest of the story, I appreciate that. The rest of the story is I had a doctor take me off the metformin and put me on glipizide.
Remember,
Huh?
oh,
Right.
glipizide.
Glipizide.
Okay.
But after so many months of taking glipizide, my A1C went down about 5 points, and now I'm not on any medication because of, was it the glipizide that I see these are different medications over time, but is one medication better than the other for the diabetes active, I guess.
You asking a good question. You make a good question. Some of the medication help control it, and some of the medication maintain the disease. To answer your question,
in order for you to eliminate diabetes, you have to unlearn a pattern that you've done for a while. Don't get offended how I say that.
I get you.
And so when you stop eating crackers, or when you stop eating gummy worms, or you stop eating Tic Tacs, or you don't use what we call sugar alcohol, these are not alcohol like alcohol beverages, you stop eating those things, your liver begins to heal. Your liver swells. You had a liver issue. And so when the liver shrinks, it gets better. Now that the liver's gone down, the pancreas is not being overworked. You had a problem because your pancreas made lots of insulin, sir. The hormone insulin is powerful. It's more powerful than testosterone. It's more powerful than any hormone in the body. The only thing hormone stronger than is the pituitary gland and the thyroid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when you have that much insulin in your body's going to tell you, keep eating, keep feeding. That's why you went to that point, you couldn't eat enough food. You couldn't eat enough. You kept feeding and feeding. Then you peed all the time. You couldn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's the truth.
Yeah, that's the truth. You're right.
I know
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Me too.
So now that I've been off of all the medication for diabetes for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So what's my next step to continue to progress for not needing
To answer your
bring
real
those
question,
numbers down?
you need to eat no more than 3 meals a day.
Okay.
You must eat in a pace what we call microscopic slow. You
Okay.
need to eat a certain types of food. When you think about processed food, you are not allowed to go to Burger King. You are not allowed to go to McDonald's. You are not allowed to eat this type of food. You are not allowed to eat Chinese food.
Okay.
You're not allowed to actually have General Tasso chicken.
I was told one time, that's my favorite.
But you can't do that. You are not allowed. Because see, if you allow yourself to do that, you actually have accepted that old learning pattern
Yeah.
that you refuse to unlearn.
Okay, I got you. And one time I was told to stop eating white rice. Is that with the Chinese dish? Is that something that's, and they say?
Let me explain something to you now. Now we're gonna talk about rice. I ain't gonna stay here all night, but I'm gonna tell you some of this stuff here right now. So let me explain something to you. Rice, when you're diabetic, in most cases, is not a really safe food.
Okay.
It's not a virgin food. It's not a safe food. Brown rice is equivalent to white rice. Quinoa is a little safer. Now, somebody will tell you can't have any starches, but you eat the combination foods. Black beans would be one of the things you can consider.
Mhm.
The thing that you run into is that, one, if you go to Captain George or Golden Corral or one of the places where you can eat crab leg, you're going to get in trouble. You can't do that anymore. You just now allowed your body to heal somewhat. You got to understand how long that you need to go without eating, because if you don't eat carb, you're not going to get hungry.
Okay.
There's more to it than meets the eye.
Okay.
But it's value in what I'm saying to you right now. I hope you're hearing the message and the words that I'm saying. I'm not here to tell you this is that way, this is that way, because everybody here is individualized when you accidentally develop this. I blame Big Pharma, I blame Big Food, but also I know that the FDA and the United Agricultural Association allow these food to get in the food chain, and that's what many of us have these issues. I honestly do. I do think that it's going to take some time for you not to be offended, to rethink your approach to food and understanding the frequency in which you eat. That's one of your takeaways. Does that make sense? Is that clear? Yes, ma'am?
Question. Not necessarily for me, because I've already talked to you. A lot of people, I'm sure they hear you, but some may be saying, what next? What do I do?
Mhm.
How do they figure it out?
Okay. One of the biggest figures is we talked about sleep.
Mhm.
This sleep is as important as you breathing oxygen. You need to make sure you, ma'am, you're a superstar and you're amazing, but you got to allow yourself to use sleep as therapy, because it allows your body to replenish itself, allows your hormones to get rebalanced. If you get up and pee 3, 4, 5, 6 times a night, then guess what's going to happen? You're not going to have a good time. And it's not going to be a good thing. And at this point here right now, we got to get you back into a normal state of homeostasis. Homeostasis means that this is what normal healthy pieces look like. You may get a pee once, that's just it.
or you don't get up at all. Secondly, you start understanding how to deal with the stress of dealing with certain things, because when you're stressed out, you're tired. And so right now you got to unlearn, I'm gonna push through this. No, you don't. You go home, you take your shower, you brush your teeth, you floss, and you get yourself squared away and you go to bed. Tomorrow we'll be here. There's some guarantees and there's a promise that's there. Your purpose right now, in terms of the next step, I heard you. Your purpose right now, what the next steps look like. Number one, get your sleep. That's the number one thing you're gonna do. Number two, you start out with a glass of water in the morning and you get 32 ounces of water by 12 o'clock. Number three, you just start out with another glass of water after lunch and you get 32 ounces of water before 6 p.m. Number four, you start out, you start moving around. You go real slow with it. Terry, my bunny hurt. Guess what? That bunion hurt because you're not doing nothing. Maybe you start moving, you can start to see a different how that bunion operates. So you got to start that physical activity. Number five, learn how to calm down. Because if you don't know how to calm down, then you're going to keep getting that adrenaline and your blood sugar and your insulin level are going to stay up there. And then, you know what, let me eat right now. Oh boy, let me take this glucophage real quick. Oh my God, my numbers. Oh my God, I ate this. And then here, my millimoles is up. You're not hearing me. Next step, you sleep. Next step, you drink water. Next step, you eat on schedule. You all that are in this room here with me right now, on a regular basis, you need to have 10 to 12 hours of fasting. That includes your sleep. So 4 hours into the morning, don't get up and eat a bowl of cereal. That's illegal. You cannot eat cereal. I'm talking to you, big guy.
I got it. I don't.
I looked at you like you're hard, but I wouldn't be hard. Do not eat cereal. Do not eat cereal. Do not eat dried fruits. They're not safe. Now, I've told you about a lot of things that are not safe, but you also heard a lot of things that are safe. That means that you need to unlearn and rethink the next level of food that you eat that will allow you to change from medication. Your doctor's never going to take you off medication. And you may run across somebody that may tell you, I can't tell you not to take your medicines. But you know what's implied when that's being stated, correct?
And I need to change the way I'm living.
If you didn't eat for 12 hours, check your blood sugar and tell me what it looks like. If you don't eat for 14 hours, check your blood sugar and see what it
But
looks
I
like.
can't go a long time without eating. But when I do eat, I'm so hungry.
You ain't hearing me.
I'm eating fast.
You're not hearing me.
12
She hadn't heard me.
hours.
Okay, then look at young lady.
Hmm.
Young lady, you're stronger than you think. And that's beyond willpower. And there's a unique spirit in this manifestation, this exoskeleton that you call human body and flesh that you have right now. You got to make a unique decision about when you eat microscopically slow, knowing that you're going to have some healthy fat first and you're going to have some protein second. And this is how much you're going to eat, and this is how fast you're going to eat, and you're going to stop. And then you're going to do this again 5 to 6 hours later. And as you do that, your sugar's going to come out of your body. The first thing you're going to start noticing, you're going to start having to pee a lot. And then that's going to go away over time. But you have to understand, these are steps you have to put in place. Your doctor's not going to tell you this. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? And I don't mean to sound like I'm fussing, but I care enough to tell you the truth. It's been a blessing. I got a handout for you, and we'll go from there.
How much sleep is the average sleep for a person between 6 and 7 hours?
In most cases, depends on what medication that you're taking, it can steal your sleep, and you can get away with 7 hours. If you run right here on 4 and 5 hours, you don't call you out. If you run right here on 4 or 5 hours, you're not nice. And at the same time, you don't feel good. You don't tell you the truth. I know you love folks, but think about you won't let nobody love you back because nobody understands because you ain't willing to accept the reinforcing piece that you need. That's truth talk. That's real? Okay.
Mr. Terry, I have a personal question.
Oh.
What do you eat in the morning for breakfast?
And when I have my breakfast, I usually eat my breakfast much later. I'll actually have about 4 eggs boiled, soft boiled, and I have a handful of walnuts. And that's all I have. In the afternoon, late afternoon, when I do eat,
I'll actually eat some more protein, but I have healthy fat in my diet. Instead of eating the time, I usually eat a very large salad sprinkled with raw sunflower seeds, and then I'll turn around and have me some fish or some chicken or some beef. And I kind of consistently eat along those lines. And so when I eat like that, that actually helps me to improve. So one, when you start looking in terms of making adjustments, these things I'm talking about may appear to be extreme because you've never done this before. But they're not extreme, and you can't turn around and say, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Listen, if you eat all the time, you're in the same place you were. That's why I use the term unlearn, rethink. That's respect, and that's love. That's what it looks like. So your fate is gonna be based off of what you eat. Your fate's gonna be based off of you getting good sleep. Your fate's gonna be based off of you willing to be open-minded. Shut your mind down, you won't grow. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Could you make, before y'all finish clapping here, I got one thing. When you do intermittent fasting, what does your body feed off and how does it work?
Okay. So intermittent fasting is a concept that's out there. Sometimes they call it delayed feeding. Some they call it restricted feeding. Sometimes they call it, you have a schedule with that. You have what we call a 16 and 8. You got an 18 and 6. And then every so often you got a 24-hour window where nobody eats anything. Today, I have not had any food at all. I am completely fasted. I have had nothing to eat today but water and coffee. That's all I had. I'm not dying. I didn't have a problem. Nothing's wrong with me. I did an hour worth of cardio early this morning. Am I going to eat today? Probably not. Tomorrow I will eat. I'm not saying you need to do where I am right now because you're not at this level. This, when I say level, this is a different perspective of where I am right now. Does that make sense? And so when you go out and you do something like, it's okay. I'm a big guy. I'm not a little man. I mean, come on now. Look at me. I'm not a big guy. I'm not hungry because I'm not eating lots of sugar. You're getting hungry because you're eating sugar that are not sweet and sugar that are sweet. And you are hearing me, but Terry, I got to eat this. No, you don't, because you're not going to die. You're going to live.
Terry, explain, please, sugars that are not sweet. I know what you're talking about.
All right. Sugars that are not sweet would be, a good example would be processed foods. Ultra processed food would be the thing for, let's say, sweet yogurt, sweet yogurt would be sweet, but thing would be like graham crackers, saltine crackers. You start looking in terms of actually having Doritos, potato chips. You start having breads. You start having bagels. These types of foods are sugars that are not sweet, but these foods are heavy processed. These processed foods, for example, would be McDonald's, Burger King, Captain D's, things of that sort, Long John Silver's. All these types of foods are sugars that are not sweet that affect your liver. When you develop diabetes or pre-diabetes, usually your liver is being overrun and it doesn't know how to fix itself. And so when you start fasting, fasting is healthy. And so when you do these delayed feeding, it actually positions your body to start taking care of your liver. And so now your pancreas gets on the same page. But these are times when you got to understand where you are. I'm not telling you go 24 hours right now because you're not there yet. But you can do 10 hours, you can do 12 hours. And then when you eat microscopically slow, but you have to eat healthy fat and protein. You do not turn around and make a sandwich. You do not turn around and have a sandwich and potato chips. That's not fair. That's not realistic. And that's all. You cannot do that. But Terry says to well, maybe we get you a piece of meat and we'll get some olive oil mixed in with it and we'll actually get you to have some other stuff. But there are times that you have to eat a certain way to go a long way with, Terry, I'm a vegetarian. Because you're vegetarian don't mean you don't have diabetes. Who is that lady back there? I like her. All right, man, you better go on with your bad self. Awesome, outstanding. Oh, now y'all almost blown together. I see it.
That's my little big sister.
Okay. All right. So does everybody see where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get frustrated. Don't turn around and it's like, I don't know what to do. Next step. Go ahead, man.
I have one question.
Okay.
Okay. I am in remission now. I had pancreatic cancer and colon cancer at the same time. I almost didn't make it, but my body yearns for sugar. It's like if I don't have ice cream that you said don't eat, I would lose it. I got to have some ice cream, or I don't know, mainly ice cream. It's like I gotta have ice cream. My body yearns for sugar. And I'm not a person that eat a whole lot of candy. You know, I eat some cookies off and on. Yeah. I don't eat a whole lot, but ice cream is my
Breakfast,
weakness.
lunch, and dinner.
It's ice cream.
All right, now let me back up something. And again, I'm going to shut this down in just a moment. But let me just give you some real talk, okay? You have something in your digestive system that's called bacteria. And you have different types of bacteria. You got healthy bacteria, you got unhealthy bacteria. And each time that you eat unique types of sugars, in particular the one that you're describing, you're feeding yeast in your body.
Right.
Yeast actually creates, I can't think of the term exactly right now, but that actually feeds cancer cells.
Right.
And so when you have more sugar in your body, the likelihood of you actually having an episode or something unusual happening, it actually feeds that. You have to understand how we can actually fix this. So if you were to have something like licorice root tea, it may be beneficial to you because we can begin to control your sugar cravings. Two, you got to understand there are times that you have to drink enough water to actually help you. And so you may have some issues with water because of the treatment you've gone through.
I forced myself to drink a lot of water.
Yeah, and so those are the kind of things you have to take a close look at. But you, right now, have an addiction that's been affecting your brain based off high fructose corn syrup. It's not the sugar, it's this high chemical made in a laboratory, but we put it in milk and cream and put these flavors in it that you're attracted to. It's corn syrup, it's not necessarily the sugar. Sugar is sugar. Sugar is not always beneficial, but corn syrup will knock heck out of you. And it's too much to ask of you. You have to stop buying that, and you got to gradually get away from it because it's not safe for you. You can't do that. Honestly, you cannot do that. It's not like, man, Terry, you don't say that. I'm saying to you, you're going to do some good things over here in the next few weeks. And right now, the biggest decision you're going to make, you're going to start understanding where this whole thing is. This presentation right now, it has a direct effect on what your takeaway needs to be. And that means that you got to start thinking through all this so we don't end up with too much yeast in your body. You got yeast in your body, you're going to have some issues because of bad yeast, it's a bad day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go after this, but listening to you talking, I only caught half of it. You just basically described to everybody in this room
Amen.
that and worse, and we're addicted. You're
Yes.
addicted to the lifestyle that you're living. You're knowing that it can kill you, but you're addicted to it. It's no different than talking to a person that's alcoholic, and he's saying, I can't stop drinking. Nothing that I do, I always crave alcohol. She just said she craves sugar, but if I was to call her a sugar addict, she'd probably slap me. But I'm just saying, basically saying that all those behaviors are learned, and over the years, medicine and medical personnel has told us that it's hereditary. They have told us that there's no way out. They have told us we have to do this. So now, instead of relying on the creator to deal with your situation, we go to the doctors, and the doctors become your God. So now I'm type 2, but I'm about to be reckless. My wife was supposed to be here tonight.
I've been waiting to talk to you.
That's fine.
She told me to get you.
Who?
Your wife?
No. My wife can tell me.
In a good way.
No, it's fine. No. Because that's what I was saying. You know, definitely need to have me in mind. But I didn't want to comment while you were speaking, but everything that you were saying, it sounded like a person that was withdrawn from an addiction.
Let me add something here with this, okay? And I know I've said this a few times, and I'm saying it because I want you to hear me, you in particular, you. and you young lady over there, there is Big Pharma. Big Pharma is the largest manufacturer in the entire world, and they make all sorts of chemicals, and everybody pays money back into them.
Yeah.
And though they get third-party reimbursement, meaning Anthem, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and all the others that are out there, Humira, and everybody that's out there, they get paid by these folks. Then you have Big Food. Big Food has done a phenomenal job of creating this type of chemical to put in this food. I want you addicted to it so we can maintain your disease. Do you hear what I'm saying? What you're talking about right now, you are talking about chemicals that's been ingested that we deal with. This is not the normal sugar. Sugar is not good for the most part, but once I get these chemicals in you, we got to get the chemicals out. We got chemicals out of that man right there, and it was brutal to get it out.
It's no different than when you take a person that's on an addiction to and detox. You get shivers, you get shakes, you get headaches, you get sick. This is what I know what it feels like to have an addiction to sugar. I've been through the nights where I couldn't control it to the point I gotta sit down and use the bathroom because it's coming out no matter what I try to do. The muscles get weak, you get cramps, you get dry mouth, you get all these things. But we had a nerve to judge somebody who's sitting on the corner shooting a needle, and we ain't thinking about what we go into our refrigerator and get, but we can judge them. But when somebody says something like this that you're speaking to us real time out loud, they're like,
Take one of the pants.
he don't understand the same way a junkie would tell you about whatever it is. They don't know me, they don't know what's going on, but and we talk about something as simple as sorry. Mr.
All right. And, that was something, and we're going to close out on that note, and we pray we can get him back again because he has different phrases and things he can do. But when I first heard what he was talking about, it seemed like it was the craziest thing in the world. I'm like, I'm fighting this because all my life, I got to eat. But I found out when I took and did as he had instructed, from taking sugars out of my diet, because I used to eat a whole row of cookies, Oreos, or whatever the cookie was every night, every night, and not drinking water properly. And when I started taking the sugars out, stopping the sodas, and then eventually putting the exercise in place, like you said, that's part of detoxing. It seemed like it took me a minute, but all of a sudden, I was at 267, and over the course of the time I've been working with him over a year, I went down to 214.
Wow.
And over the course, he was telling me about, Mike, that medicine. I don't know, he didn't tell me to stop taking it, but he said, you can get off of this medicine. All my life, I heard, once you get on metformin, the doctors don't want to take you off or anything. But, after explaining what he explained to me, they want you to stay on this medicine. We want to keep getting your money. And I learned, I kept doing what he was telling me to do. My A1C dropped, my weight dropped. I got clothes I can't wear. and they end up taking me off the medicine about a month ago. And I attribute that from following the course of action that he gave me, and I feel like I'm stronger than I've in my adult life. I feel like I'm as strong as I've ever been. I have endurance. I don't have to take any blue pills or anything. So, but my point is when your body goes out of kilter, it affects every aspect of your life. So when you start eating properly, resting properly, and exercising, it puts your body back in that reset mode. When your body goes back in the reset mode, you can be who you're supposed to be. And I found this out from firsthand experience. So I know it works. We're not trying to sell you no product or anything like that, but we're just trying to have total man ministries and believe that if you eat right, you know, like Dion said, if you look good, you play good. You know, and I believe when we get to the point when we start looking good, we start feeling good, we start doing better in every area of life. Because you have assignment on your life and you're supposed to be doing things. And when you're not when you feeling half this and half that, you're not performing to the level that you're supposed to, and not at the level of our creator. We're not what we're supposed to be. So so we're gonna get to where we're supposed to. We're gonna get unaddicted and retrained. And like they said in Man on Fire, it's the trained and the untrained. Which one are you gonna be? You're gonna be the trained. And trained people know what to do. Amen. You have something you want to say?
No, this is personally for Mr. Terry. Okay, I'm 81 years old. I was diagnosed about 23 years ago with type 2 diabetes. And I've been taking metformin since then. Now the doctor has put me on Trulicity. The only thing that I think I eat badly, no, I haven't had ice cream. I had a spoon, about a half cup of ice cream Thanksgiving time. I used to eat it every night. I try to eat good, but I have a habit of liking bread, toast. And I try to do the wheat toast. I'll have it just about every day. And I know that's not good. But what else can you do? I don't want to lose weight. The doctor, she said she put me on Trulicity, but it causes you to lose weight. I eat very slowly, but I eat. But I eat very slowly.
I like how you sound, but I'm going to give you a real response.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a real response.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to eat bread, that's fine. But at this point here right now, I want to know what your liver enzymes look like. Number two, if we can work with you, because you were real thin once.
Yes.
And hear what I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Being thin doesn't make you fragile. You strong. I saw you do a lot of stuff in that tonight.
I exercise a lot, I think.
The ability to have what we call muscle hypertrophy, means your muscles get bigger, not like big like me, but your muscles get bigger, your body's going to do a better job in recognizing insulin. And so it's possible you could take a lot of less medication. Sometimes systems shut down based off these medications. Like we get somebody on testosterone replacement therapy. Okay. Body won't stop making as much testosterone it used to. We take you off of it. You feel like I'm about to go crazy, got to be nutty, something's going on with me. So we put you on these particular therapies. Mm-hmm. The question is, how are you eating and being able to get you to eat different? I cannot allow you to eat the same. That's why I use the term, unlearn, rethink. Mm-hmm. Because there are other foods that you can eat that give you satisfaction and gratification. Mm-hmm. And so the fitness for you in particular is going to make a big difference. Your fitness, your sleep, it's okay to be a little thinner, but a bit more muscular. That's what you look at. 81 is 81. 81 is not what 81 used to be for this lady over here, this man over here. Mm-hmm. You fresh and spry. It's real. I looked at you and I'm like, okay, you give me that thing back. Hear what I'm saying? There is a uniqueness about you in terms of getting you to train that will allow your body to be even different. The question is, should I have wheat bread? And my answer is no. Because you can eat other things other than just bread. And you like other things other than bread. You just been the cup because you like the texture of bread and the way it feels when you chew it. I got that. Mm-hmm. We're going to get you to eat. You got to do something a little different. It works. Mm-hmm. It's tough hearing that. And it's tough when you all hear somebody say the way that I'm saying it. You are not being criticized. You're not being put down. I'm saying this is what the marketing piece has done. You've been seduced. Seduction has worked well. Uh-huh. Now we got to figure out, okay, what do I fall in love with? And how do I re-love how I need to eat? And it's not Golden Corral. Yeah. Y'all with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, I think I got to roll.
All right. Thank you, Terry. We're going to close out now. Let's give Terry a round of applause. Thank you for that great information. And let us close out with uplifted hearts and hands. Lord, we thank you for all that's been said and done. We give you praise, oh God, for what you're doing in our lives. Now may the grace of God and the sweet communion of the Holy Ghost rest, rule, and abide now and forevermore. Let our heart say amen.
Amen.
Say amen again.
Amen.
Say amen like you're going to rethink and redo on today. Amen. God bless you all. Remember, we walk by faith and not by sight. God bless you.
Everybody, I make refreshments, healthy refreshments according to my understanding.